Good day, students. Welcome to today's English class on nominalization. I'm your instructor, Bangkok Peace, Alam. Our learning objectives for today's class are that at the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1. Recognize the devices for turning parts of speech into nouns in English language. 2. Turn verbs and adjectives into nouns. And 3. Use nominalized parts of speech in sentences. Introducing the lesson. In English grammar, nominalization is a type of word formation in which a verb or an adjective is used as or transformed into a noun. Nominalization is simply the creation of a noun from verbs or adjectives. Most of the time, nouns are created from other parts of speech through the use of suffixes. A group of letters added to the word is generally referred to as affix. The ones you add at the front of the word is known as prefix, while the ones you add at the back of the word or at the end of the word is known as suffix. Now to the nominalization of verbs. Verbs show actions and doings. Example, go, have, believe, carry, see. There are certain patterns that we follow to decide which suffix is needed in order to create a noun from a verb. First, we look at gerund. The most straightforward way of turning a verb into a noun is through the use of gerund. These are made by adding the suffix ing to the end of the verb. For example, walking is very pleasant. The verb to walk has been transformed into a noun, walking. Secondly, nouns of agencies and profession. When we turn a verb into a noun to represent someone or occasionally something who is an agent of that action or who performs the action in a professional capacity, we typically use the suffixes or, err, or simply r. For example, my fiancé is an actor. That is someone who acts. 2. I'm training to be a teacher. Someone who teaches. 3. The writer is very well known. Someone who writes. The third way is nouns of recipients. For verbs that become nouns to represent someone who is the recipient of an action, we often use the suffix ee. For example, the employee is disputing his wages. An employee is someone whom others employ. The fourth way is that we can use nouns of general action. We can use a variety of different suffixes to describe an action in general. The most common of these are tion, sion, ans, ment, and enscens. In some instances, we change the ending of the verb slightly in order to take the suffix. For example, 1. His acceptance of the position was received warmly. The verb accept becomes a noun, acceptance. 2. Thank you for the invitation. The verb invite becomes a noun, invitation. 3. In conclusion, we should see a spike in profits soon. The verb conclude becomes a noun, conclusion. 4. I was surprised by my enjoyment of the play. The verb enjoy becomes a noun, enjoyment. 5. Use the textbook as your reference if you're confused. The verb refer becomes a noun, reference. The fifth way. Some other suffixes that work in this way are alr and urer, as in 1. Failure to find a solution is not an option. The verb fail becomes a noun, failure. 2. The review will include a quick perusal of your work. The verb peruse becomes a noun, perusal. Now we move on to the nominalization of adjectives. Adjectives work with a noun by telling us more about the noun. Adjectives include words that denote size like big, color, red, origin, example German, number, example 8, and quality, example good. We change adjectives into nouns when we want to speak of them as general ideas or concepts. Adjectives can take a variety of different suffixes depending on how they are spelled. The first one we're going to be looking at is ness, ness. We often use the suffix ness for many adjectives. Most of the time, we can simply add the suffix onto the end of the adjective without making any change to its spelling. For example, the hardness of diamond makes it a great cutting tool. the adjective hard becomes the noun hardness. However, when we use this suffix with an adjective ending in y, we change the y to I. For example, we are waiting for some steadiness in the market. The adjective steady, S-T-E-A-D-Y, becomes the noun steadiness. We have replaced the y with I, then added ness. Some adjectives ending in a T, preceded by a long vowel sound, can take the suffix as well. For example, her greatness is without question. The adjective great becomes the noun greatness. Next, we're going to be looking at changing adjective to noun using the letter Y. Other adjectives that end in a T, preceded by a consonant, will take the suffix Y to become nouns. For example, this project will be fraught with difficulty. The adjective difficult becomes the noun difficulty. Now, changing adjective to nouns using ITY. When adjectives end in E, they often take the suffix ITY to become nouns. However, there is often a change to the spelling of the word. Usually, we simply drop E and replace it with ITY. For example, there is a scarcity of food in the city. The adjective scarce becomes the noun scarcity. When the word ends in BLE, bull, though, we have to change the LE to IL. Let's look at this example. This project is your responsibility. The adjective responsible becomes the noun responsibility. Now, changing adjective to nouns using ANCE and ENCE. We often use the suffix ans for adjectives ending in ant. For example, this is of the utmost importance. The adjective important becomes the noun importance. Also, we often use the suffix ENCE for adjectives ending in ENT. For example, we demand greater independence. The adjective independent becomes the noun independence. Summary. Normalizations are nouns that are created from adjectives, which are words that describe nouns, or verbs, which are action words. Also, suffixes are used to transform verbs and adjectives into nouns. Furthermore, we can see that normalization of verbs can be done using gerunds, noun of agency and profession, noun of recipients, noun of general action. Finally, the normalization of adjectives can be done using any SS-ness, the letter Y, ITY, ANCE, ANCE, ENCE, ENCE, and so on and so forth. Assignments. Question 1. Dash is used to change the spelling of a verb or adjective that is made into a noun. Number 2. Change the following verbs to nouns. A. Read. B. Write. C. Pay. D. Populate. E. Propose. Number 3. Change the following adjectives to noun. A. Rough. B. Flat. C. Honest. D. Rare. E. Able. Question 4. We write the following sentences so that there is no normalization in the sentence. A. I completed the test with much difficulty. B. She made the suggestion that we got out for dinner. Send all inquiries and answers to Jim or Smith at edufirst.ng. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.